And welcome back to the Psychic Sleuth channel. So I'm doing a card on the CALI boys, classic and sincere is what I like to call them because that was their given name and that's what I pulled the cards on. And so I'm just going in the way that Spirit's leading me, because I noticed when I tried to go out of the cases they wanted me to work next and pull cards on, it seemed inaccurate. So once I did this, it was accurate. So go figure. So I'm just trying to follow what Spirit's telling me to do. And so the cards are just for extra information. They have not been found yet. This seems to validate the last reading that I did, although it was live. Yeah. So the cards are for extra information. They are an extension of me. Spirit is having me use them. I am just revisiting old cases as I use them. Perception is everything, so I may not perceive them right. I may perceive them correctly. It just depends. If I get any extra information or extra visions, I will tell you. I am still learning on the cards. They are still new to me. I am still learning how they flow and what they mean when they flow together, like what certain things can mean. Cards can also have multiple meanings, and cards can also bring up things around the cases. And also, it seems like, when it comes to location, it could be things around or I can pull up things where stuff may have happened as well. So again, it's all on how we perceive the cards, how we make sense of them. And considering I'm just learning, I'm no pro at this, I'm just trying to follow and practice. Practice makes perfect, all right? So if you don't like the cards, that's okay. You don't have to watch. But this is for extra insight, extra input, in hopes that it can bring a little bit more clarity to the case and a little bit, maybe help with the location. This does validate the last location that I received and the last things I was seeing in the live reading that I did for them. When we get to that, I will let you know. So, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Viewer discretion is advised. I don't know what I'm going to get. If I get anything extra, this is for entertainment purposes only. I realize that this is like basically done, that they've been in court, that they've been sentenced, all of that. I realize that. I did readings prior that really showed me things about the dad. Or I should say the adopted dad, not the real dad. So I mean that information came in before. I felt he was a really bad guy. I felt he was fooling people on who he was, and the D's were involved, and he had a very, very bad temper. And I knew the moment that I saw him on camera that he was lying. So I do feel like this was something that was done enraged. But I think that a lot of even though it was live, and I say that sometimes I can pick up people's thoughts, I think that live reading is pretty accurate. I think it's more accurate than the Autowrites, because sometimes when I Autowrite, especially back then, I was all over the place. I kept seeing sand, and so I figured it was the desert. But sand is also available in Bakersfield. Actually, I used to live close to Bakersfield. So my ears feel really weird tonight. Ever since I decided to start pulling cards, and again, I tried to pull them on a different case, and it wasn't on two different cases, and they didn't seem accurate. They didn't feel right to me. It's like, okay, fine. I'm going to go with my original idea for classic and sincere, and what do you know, they came out accurate. So that's why I go in the direction that Spirit leads me. Again, this is to find information because Spirit says to do so. It's an extension of me, so extra information is always good. No matter how you get the information, it's okay to use tools. All right. So they may or may not be accurate. I don't know. They seem accurate. That's all I gotta say. They always seem accurate when I follow what Spirit says to do. But my ears feel really weird. And I'll get to why I think maybe they feel really weird. They almost feel like, and there's no reason that they should feel weird. It almost feels like I've been in water. That's the best way I can describe it. And it happened. I was fine earlier. But now I can't even, like, you know how, like, when your ears are plugged and you, like, have this weird feeling in your head? Like, that's how it feels. It's kind of really driving me a little bit crazy. So, again, remember that these cards can also be surrounding the case and also surrounding the area as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, put my other camera up. Oh, we don't like that one. There we go. All right. So, of course, we have the missing card because they are still missing. They have not been found. I got the arson card, and I feel like maybe some stuff was burned. I don't necessarily feel like it's them, but they may have burned evidence. We have the runaway card because it was stated that they ran away, that they took off. These two little boys took off in the desert by themselves down the street. That was the story, so that's why this card I feel came in. So this is kind of interesting because we get the accident and we get the murder card. So these kind of came in together. So you can sometimes when they flow together, you kind of take them together. And I take it like they were unalived kind of on accident. Like I don't feel like it was anything that was really planned. It was like in the heat of the moment, and that's what's always kind of came in my readings, is that something happened that triggered in the heat of the moment situation. So that's how I'm taking that and perceiving it. I hate how I can't, like I sound weird. So we have we have this involved. We have trapped. The kids were trapped. They couldn't go anywhere. That's how I take it. I think at one point I did get water or bathtub or something. I can't remember. How Autowrites work, well, there'll be a link down below on how to kind of understand them. But back then I didn't have a lot of control. I'm getting more and more control every time. So more and more it's about our case that we're working on. But sometimes other cases do come in. So it's hard to, whenever I Autowrite, it is hard to see what goes where. But I think I did get a bathtub or water or something. But it also kind of goes with this other situation. So then we have the hand fist, which I feel like I said, it was done out of anger, and I do feel like this was used. And I do feel Dad was doing the D's, and I do feel like there was D's involved. Okay, now we're gonna go into, I mean, we already know they've already been found guilty. I do understand that, but I'm still going into this for the validation of it. So we have thief. I feel like Dad was that type of person. I don't know if he had anything in his past, but I do feel like he was kind of thief. He also stole their lives, but he comes across as a good guy, right? But he's really a con man. And we saw that when they showed the image of how he tried to con everybody about the kids going missing and stuff. So he comes across as like a good guy. Like, I don't think anybody would have thought that he would have done something like this. Maybe some people that really, really knew him, but I think he put up a front. That's the way that it comes across. But he's a con man. He's not who people think he is. And then we have the parental figure of the child. Okay, so the way that they're flowing. Now, again, we know they're adopted, but still, he was the parental figure. They adopted them, yada, yada. We have a male. And I think there's isn't there an ex-military connection, or wasn't there a military connection in there? I think there was. I think he was at some point. Then we have the family card because this was his family. Terrorism, again, I get the terrorism card if someone's a terrorist, if they're terrorizing kids, if they're doing that type of behavior, if they're involved in an unaliving, then therefore they're a terrorist. Okay. And he may have, like, I don't understand this card, but it could be like, I'm not really sure how to take this card, honestly. I mean, it could have came off as a friend to the kids. Or there may be a friend that knows something, but he could have came off as a friend to the kids. And giant, so that'd be someone tall or bigger. I don't know. But then we have bloodline, which you take as, they don't necessarily have to be blood related, but you can take this as someone that's in the, like, someone that's family related, someone that's supposed to be taking care of them. Like, it depends again on the situation and how you take the cards. And then we have bad guy. Okay. Then we have terrorist again, because he was. We have family member, which adopted family member, still a family member. And I take it as, like, the stranger card doesn't always necessarily mean stranger. It can mean, like, people didn't really know him. You know, like, he was a stranger, like, before he adopted the kids, before he was involved in their lives. He was a stranger to them, so we can take it like that as well. Other people involved, like in the cover-up, we know that. I feel like one person, I feel like allegedly the man was the one that was in. I always see the dad doing it, so that could be why one person, but then we also have the spouse and the mother. Now, again, not blood mother, but the one that was playing the mother, the adopted mother. Okay, it's going to come out in the card. I don't have an adopted mother, you know what I mean? I don't have any of the adoptive stuff or anything, so it's who was in that role. Okay, so putting her also involved. Okay, so we have, and this part right here is because I feel like it happened in the house. Okay, we have neighborhood and private property because, again, it happened, I feel, in the house, on the private property that was in a neighborhood. And they are lost because they have not been found. Okay. They're hidden. There is reference to a school. There is a reference to a wooded area. Now, I always take wooded areas because when I see them, it can just be a clump of trees. It doesn't have to be this large wooded area, okay? But it can be a wooded area. But anywhere that's like wooded, that has like trees, okay? We have hollow earth. We have power supply. We have underground. So that can be underground tunnels, crossroads. Mountains can also be in the background. And this would make sense because unfortunately they are bones, or depending on where they're at. Now this is interesting because this part right here validates my reading, and I've got every single water card that you can pull. But literally inside river came in together. There is a huge river that flows by Bakersfield, the Kern River. It matches what my last reading was saying. But the interesting is these two came in together. Inside river, water. And the way that all these are flowing together, underwater, beach. Now, beach can be, you know, there's beach areas along a river. Doesn't mean the one with the waves. Then we have another in water card. Then we have water card again. So literally every water card I could pull is here, almost. But the inside river is what kind of was like, huh, okay, those two flow together. Then we have public area. That could be the river. A lot of people visit that river. In nature. Oh, crap. Sorry, dropped it. In nature. Okay. Inside, I feel like it happened inside, so that could be another reason for this card. Above ground, maybe at some point. But here we got work. I don't know where he worked. I don't know where either of them worked, but that's interesting. And wooded area again. So definitely trees, definitely water. The way that it's coming across is this inside water, which does match my reading. I don't know if I have the exact area right because location is very hard, especially if they're inside a river. But I know that there's mountains out there. If you go towards the Kern Valley, there's mountains there, river there. But the interesting thing is inside river, water, underwater, beach. So in water, like all the water cards I could possibly get, unfortunately. So I just realized again, I want to bring up like the friend card. It could be because he was supposed to be a friend. Like he was supposed to be like that to them. You know, he's supposed to be a friend person to them, not just a parent. You know what I mean? Like you could take it like that. All right, so I didn't have room, so I had to turn it off and pull the rest of the cards. All right. This is also validating my reading. So we have blackmail, which we might not take that literal. We've thought about it before, like a blackmail is involved. If you could take it like that. Like I said, you don't always have to take the cards literal. There might have been some blackmail, like maybe somebody knew something was blackmailing him, but you could take it like that too. Since I don't have that type of card. Surveillance. There's probably some surveillance somewhere. Now this is kind of like where it gets weird. So in my live reading, I got that there was some abuse with the kids. And some, like they maybe been abused and pedo way. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. And the interesting thing is we got the affair and the crime of passion card. If you take it that way, because there's more stuff that's going to come in. Take the success card. I don't know if he was successful in any part of his work or what at some point. There's regret. I do feel like the kids were sad. I feel like they were sad and withdrawn. Unfortunately, this is a soul contract. And microchip, you can take that as a microchip of a phone, any kind of microchip, any kind of evidence like that. Here we have this card. See what I mean? If you go back to the reading, I hope he wasn't abusing the boys, but I did see something regarding that in the reading, and it came up in the cards. There's a distraction. There was a distraction when the kids went missing. They were trying to put everybody in a different direction. We have DNA. We have treason. We know he lied. He lied. They both did. And then, again, perversion. So, I think you guys can get my drift on that. I think he was allegedly doing that with the boys. Because it's coming up in the cards and it came up in my reading. That's all I'll say. Loyal. So there was delays in the case, but I feel like there's also delays in finding them. If they ever do find them, I'm not really sure. But it's like there's a delay and then there's a confession. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a jailhouse confession or if he confesses at some point, but there might be a delay in the confession. Like it might still come if you take those cards together. Travel. So they did move. They did leave. They did travel. And I feel like they did travel to also take the kids. Fired. I don't know if he was fired from his job or not. There's a secret surrounding this case, which could be what we just spoke about with the perversion. Alarm. I can take that card again as time. There's a time issue here. Like things may have happened at a different time than what we think. And we do know that, they weren't reported for a while after they were actually missing. So that's the time. So communication. We have communication. We have incoming message. So there's some kind of communication with him, maybe her, an incoming message. Maybe I don't know if they pinged phones or they did anything with the phones. It could be that. Or the computer. We have fraud because I feel like they were defrauding the system in some way, shape, or form as far as just using kids for money, allegedly adopting them, fostering them, get the money for it. Intuition. I feel like the kids had a weird feeling. A white collar crime, again, stealing of money or trying to adopt just for money, that kind of thing. There's a witness, which we know that there's more than one person involved, so we know that there is a witness. And there's an investigation still going on, maybe to find the kids. Staged. We know it was staged. We know they said that they were missing, walked down the street in the desert. Like they had already been missing for a while. The work card comes in again. So, I pulled up the work card with the, like where they were at. Possibly, like might be by his work or his work somehow. I'm not really sure. But there's a work something here. Some sort of protection. But as we do know, regardless, there's justice in the case. Memories. So they might be going back on some things in their mind. a sixth sense again. Maybe the kids had an idea, or somebody else did. We know there's lies. We know he lied. They both did. There's some sort of revenge here. Party. So party can include the D's or anything like that. Maybe they love card, which can kind of go with the reversion card and all of that. Anger, which makes sense because I always feel like he lost it. Abuse, neglect in all different ways. Legal proceedings, which there was. Government, which could be any form of the government. Some sort of meeting. I feel like, you know, he may have, I don't know. I don't really know how to take this card, but there's a meeting of some sort. It could even be like a meeting, you know, that they might meet up and try to strike a deal at some point with an appeal or whatnot. I'm not really sure, but let's just, can be any sort of meeting. So we have DEA, which tells me the D's. DNA. Again, we have the phone. So I don't know if it's a ping, a message, what it is. There's a phone that's involved because we also have the phone call message. So that's coming both times here. Camera, like they were caught on camera somewhere. Argument, again, I feel like he lost his temper. There was something that happened in regards to arguing or getting upset, all of that. FBI, I don't know if the FBI was involved, but there was also physical evidence. Okay. I didn't watch the trial or anything, so we already know this, already interviewed the killer. I mean, they interviewed him, and then they had already interviewed him at that point. And you get D's. D's might be an important factor. That could be the parents or the kids, you know, but like they gave it to him or something. But definitely this crime will be solved in the distant future. So it's already been solved. They already arrested him. I don't know if that means that they might find him. I don't think so. If they're in the water, it's really hard. Who knows? Maybe years from now. I don't really know. Rage or extreme anger was the motive. You're only supposed to pull 3 of those cards, but this one made sense because I've always seen rage and anger and all that surrounding it. And my ears won't stop. We'll see if after this is done, my ears stop because it's really on my nerves right now. Like I can't hear right. So, I mean, that's just kind of validating my other reading, the live reading that I did. If everybody wants to go watch that, you can always fast forward through the live part. It was a live. That's when I did them live. I don't do them like that anymore. And I just don't have time to go back and clip everything I made in the future, but I don't know. So, again, I think that's basically it for this. I didn't get a lot of extra information, but I'm also pretty tired. I wanted to get this up because I've been thinking about it the last few days. It kind of just validated my reading. So, anyways, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, sharing, and being here. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.